Now, although the Philippines presidential election result hasn't been officially declared, there's little doubt about who the winner will be. The controversial mayor of Davao City, Rodrigo Duterte, is millions of votes ahead and he's expected to take office at the end of next month.
Joining us to discuss is foreign editor Dr. Keith Suter. Thanks, Keith, for being here. There's been a lot of controversy about this guy. Some of them saying that he's like Donald Trump. He actually kind of makes Trump look like the Pope.
Yeah.
What are the major concerns? Should we be worried?
Yes, we should be worried, because if you're the head of state, then you represent all that's good, noble and true in the country. And this is a fellow who is in favour of gang raping a nun or something. So that, and he's now saying to the Australians, you shut your mouth. Don't you criticise me, otherwise I'll expel you, in effect. So from that point of view, it will send shockwaves through people who think, I wouldn't mind going there for a holiday. Secondly, there is also the problem that it reflects the underlying politics of anger in the country. I was there 30 years ago for the People Power Revolution, and it's interesting, the last 30 years, basically it's the same thin ruling elite who just take it in turns in running the country. And there's obviously a lot of people who are missing out on the wealth that is being generated. And so you see that anger that is now building up. And this guy represents that anger in the same way that Donald Trump represents in the United States.
With the exception, perhaps, of Cory Aquino, you know, the Philippines presidents over the last, 20, 30 years really have had quite a cast of very colourful characters, of just populists, basically.
Yeah.
Why is it that that is so entrenched in the Philippines electoral cycle?
I think it's a very undeveloped political culture. It's a political culture without a middle class. So if you look at Australia, it's basically a middle class society. In the Philippines, it's still very feudal. As I've said, you've got this thin ruling elite, and then most of the rest, 100 million people, are still living in poverty.
Right.
So you're appealing to the votes. You've clearly got an electoral system which is a little more easy to deal with than it was, say, in the Marcos era. But nonetheless, you've got ordinary people who are just scrambling, looking for someone who's going to start sharing the wealth. And it's interesting, the Duterte, the president-elect, himself comes from part of that ruling elite. He's pretending to be a man of the people, but he's actually part of that ruling elite.
They always promise to redistribute the wealth, and they turn out just to be like the last flashy demagogue.
Exactly, because they're all, they're all looking after each other's wealth. They just take it in turns in terms of running the country. So, for example, the person who may end up as vice president is the son of a former president, President Marcos, and the widow of that president is back in Congress, and his sister is a provincial governor. So, as I say, it's this thin ruling elite, and I think people are fairly desperate because they just don't see how the political system is going to generate someone who's going to allow the wealth to trickle down to them.
So are we likely to see the Philippines sort of slip back?
Well, it's been a remarkable economic success story by contrast, but the worry that we've got is that he may well want to pick a fight with China. He himself has said, I don't have many policies, I'm going to leave it to the experts. Sure. So it may well be that it'll be just the show pony and allow the technocrats to run the country, and they may well say we need to get a middle class.
Just with the most shocking public statements.
Oh, absolutely. Appalling.
Just
crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Keith.